What if I told you we could help you stop cutting out your favorite foods while losing weight and gaining muscle? You don't need a zero carb, zero sugar sentence to hit your fitness goals. You just need to track your macros. Today we're going to be talking about the science of macro tracking.
Hi everybody, Zach and Ashley here with Zash Snacks and Zash Wellness. Today we're talking about the science of macro tracking. Zach, when did you start tracking your macros and why?
I started about 6 years ago. I was doing a lot of CrossFit and working out really hard 5 to 6 times a week. I was noticing though, no matter how hard I trained, I could not quite get the body I'd hoped for. That's when a coach introduced me to what we now know as macro tracking. The science behind that is really something that we're going to go into in this video, and I think you'll like the results and how that works and how easy it can be to eat the foods you want to eat and still have the body that you want.
All right, before we get into the details, Zach, can you tell me how has macro tracking changed your life and why would somebody want to track their macros?
Sure, absolutely. When I first started doing macro tracking and my coach came to me to talk about it, I was skeptical. I did all kinds of diets, and to be honest with you, I was kind of sick of dieting. It felt like you had to be so restrictive, you couldn't eat the things you wanted to eat, and then when you did eat, you would eat so much more than you had planned on in the first place. So I was skeptical of it. But as I started to learn more about it, I learned it's not so much about a diet or specific food. It's about tracking your 3 blocks, which is your protein block, your fat block, and your carbohydrate block. Mm-hmm. And through that process, you have an upper limit and a lower limit of what you can do. But through that, it allows you to have flexibility. Truthfully, I don't think you can have with any other diet and any type of lifestyle, especially if you want to have the body that you want and hopefully the performance that you want as well.
And you still get to eat some of your favorite foods, right?
You get to eat all your favorite foods.
That's the best part.
I think that's probably the most powerful. If you could sum it up,
yes,
you get to eat basically, there's some things that are still kind of off limits or what we would know as cheap foods.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you can eat all the foods you want to eat. You just track them and then you adjust. So again, we'll dive more into that. But it's all about adjusting your daytime, your nighttime, whether you're doing intermittent fasting, 3 a day, snacks, whatever it is. It allows you to have more flexibility than you could ever imagine doing another type of diet.
All right, great. We're going to talk a little bit more about that when we come back.
Look forward to it.
All right, Zach, thank you so much for that information.
Betcha.
So, where would someone start if they wanted to start tracking their macros?
The way to start tracking your macros is, first of all, you got to find out where you are. How you find out where you are is I always would say take the last 5 days, try to estimate how many calories you ate per day in those days. In order to, if your goal is to lose weight, you got to learn how many calories you need every day, your body needs every day based on your activity level to start losing weight. Because then you're going to subtract some of those calories out and formulate your plan based on that. Let's say you're a hard-charging younger guy or girl who has goals to put a lot of muscle on. Same thing. You kind of want to look at the past week. What have you eaten? Where are you at? Have you gone up? Have you gone down? Or is the scale stayed the same? And now you're going to want to look to increase your calories, probably your good fats, and also your protein counts. Again, I am not a doctor. I am not a nutritionist. There's a lot of online resources, but I've been doing this for a long time. So I have a pretty good understanding of what works for me and has worked for a lot of other people. Once you have where you're at, the plan is now to find out where you want to be and formulate a plan. So for example, let's take the person who wants to lose a little bit of weight, because that's typically the everyday person who comes to Zash Snacks is like, I want to have a balance, right? They come to us like, I want to have a balanced lifestyle, eat the things I want to eat, but I want to feel and look better. Mm-hmm. So for that person, what we would do is we would have them find their basic metabolic rate, how many calories they burn every day with doing the activity level they're doing. Mm-hmm. From that point, we would probably, based on the calculator on MyFitnessPal, is the one I use. There's a couple you can use. Again, MyFitnessPal tends to be the best one. Yeah. You would formulate a plan based on how many grams of protein you need in a day, how many grams of carbohydrates you might need in a day, and how many grams of fat you might need in a day. You formulate your plan from there, and again, there's a lot of good resources. You could even talk to your doctor or nutritionist, which is never a bad idea if you're starting something new. From that point, what you do is you formulate your MyFitnessPal plan. And that's going to be like, what do I do every day for success? Mm-hmm. And basically what you do from there is you're going to start logging. And logging is taking the foods you tend to eat the most often, hopefully they're going to be part of your new plan, and start logging them into your MyFitnessPal.
Okay, great. Yeah, MyFitnessPal is really great. I think a lot of people have probably heard about that, but we're going to dive a little bit deeper into that when we get back.
Yeah, look forward to seeing you then.
Can you explain what MyFitnessPal is and how somebody would use it?
Sure, yeah, that would help, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
To understand how you do this process we're talking about. So your first step is you want to go on to your Android, your Apple, whatever you use to get your app. The app is called MyFitnessPal. Again, we're focusing on MyFitnessPal. There are other services. I want to be clear about that, but MyFitnessPal tends to be the best in my opinion.
And the easiest.
The easiest as well, exactly.
Yeah.
From that point, you download. Now, after the first part we talked about this, we're going to do simple math. You need 2,000 calories a day. Let's say 1,500. 1,500 calories a day. You want to balance that into a ratio of protein, fats, and your carbohydrates, which MyFitnessPal can help you set that. We typically will say if you are say 150-pound person, roughly 1 gram of protein to 0.75 grams of protein per day is what most athletic and things that we've researched and what's worked best for us.
Mm-hmm.
You can go a little lower, but you start to have a little bit of, you can have muscle, your muscle can break down on you. So from that point, you know where you want to go. The next step in this is getting a food scale.
Mm-hmm.
A food scale is essential. And I know so many people, when I've talked to them in the past and tell them to get food scale, their eyes roll. They're like, oh, this is going to
Because if you don't, you're just guessing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They think it's you'll hear words like, that's too obsessive, that's too much, you're taking this too far. But what you have to understand is this will become easy, but at first it's going to be hard.
And then you start to recognize those portion sizes as well, especially when you don't have a food scale or if you're at a restaurant. You can kind of get a feel of, once you've been doing this a while, of what your portions are when you're still tracking your macros, but you're at a restaurant or you're not at home. So.
Exactly. I'll give you an example. You may have a dish. Let's say you get a healthy dish. Let's say it's like a microwave meal for a family or something. And on the back it says 4 servings and it says, 1,000 calories for the whole thing. Well, you can guess, but often people guess wrong. They usually eat more calories than they think in a day. I did it. You did it. We always think we were eating less calories. We always thought we were eating enough protein. We always thought we were not eating that much sugar, and wrong on all of those. Every single time I started to track it using the food scale, I think you did as well, especially when we first met. You
over
really
the sugar, over the calories, over the fat. That's just stuff that's really hard to track in foods.
It is. And so you'll see, you pick up, it's simple. You put a little thing on your food scale, boom, exact weights. And like Ashley just said, she's an intuitive eater. She does this naturally so well now. But over time, you'll be able to get a slice of pizza, kind of look at that slice of pizza and be like, that's probably 350 calories. That's got about this much protein, that's much. And you start to become, so you're not so obsessive. When you first start, you do need to be a little bit more obsessive because you're learning. Anything new, you're going to have to be hyper-focused on because it's new to you. So this is not something you're used to doing, right?
Yeah, totally agree on that.
So from that point, you formulate your diet. You have 1,500 calories in a day. Let's say you have a big breakfast. Oh man, we've done this before. Ashley's the queen of breakfast eating. So let's say Ashley just crushes a breakfast, 900 calories for breakfast, which is possible. And now on a typical diet, you're like, oh, it's over. I messed up my diet. I'll start again tomorrow. I ruined the whole thing. MyFitnessPal, the coolest thing about MyFitnessPal is you go, okay, I had a big breakfast. I have 700 more calories for my day. So what do you do there? You say, do I want to break this into 2 350 calorie meals, one for lunch and one for dinner? Do I want to do like an intermittent fasting kind of thing? Skip my lunch, maybe have a light protein shake even, and then you have your 700 calories for dinner. All of a sudden you're like, I'm on my diet. I had giant breakfast and I had a big dinner, but I still hit my goals. And that's exactly what I'm talking about with MyFitnessPal, is that flexibility. You still have to use some self-discipline. For example, self-discipline here is holding back on your lunch or eating a light lunch so you can have a big dinner. So the discipline thing is there. Nothing is perfectly easy. Nothing worth having is going to be easy. But as Ashley knows, tell them a little about some of your big meals you like to eat, and then you won't eat again until dinner.
Yeah, it's just intuitive eating. Right?
Intuitive
You don't
eating.
overeat. You don't, eat when you're already full, and so it just comes naturally. Not for everybody. So that's why we're talking about macro tracking, talking about weighing your food. And another great feature that MyFitnessPal offers, one, you can type the food that you're eating in and you type in your serving size. The other way to do it, which we recommend especially for beginners, is upgrading and getting the barcode scanning app So you
Yeah.
scan your food, the barcode that's on your food, you put in the serving size, it immediately finds the exact product that you're going to eat, and then it plugs it into your system. And then when you're tracking throughout the day, you can kind of see if you're over or under your goal for the day. So it really helps keep you on track.
Especially when you're starting. That's a great point what she just brought up there. So when you first start, you're eating all your favorite foods, but it is such a pain, I'm not gonna lie, when you're typing in, hamburger 90% lean. And over time, what happens is it'll remember those things. So then the next time, let's say you eat hamburgers tomorrow or 2 days from now, you put that in, there it is, you just click on it again. Maybe the patty was a little bit bigger, a little smaller than the time you had it before. Maybe it's an 8-ounce patty or a 6-ounce patty.
You just change the serving size.
Just adjust the serving size.
Yeah.
And again, this doesn't have to be perfection, but it helps you to just, you're going to get better and better at it, but it gets you pointed in the right directions. And you start to learn what food looks like. How many grams of everything roughly is in each item that you eat. It starts to become, like Ashley said, intuitive, where you can almost just look at it and understand it. But in the beginning, you really have to use that scan code is probably the best way. So this is easy, and you don't just stop because you're frustrated and tired of trying.
All right, great. Thank you for that.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about the final things you can do for success, including the in-body scans.
How you can track your progress,
Yeah,
not just guess. That's
so
the
important.
biggest and most important fact of your tracking your body progress. Can you tell me how tracking macros for your personal growth has impacted the ability to generate the macros for Zashnax?
Yeah, sure, no problem. And that's the birth of Zashnax, and why it started, truthfully, was because of the passion to not have to eat your chicken and your rice and your little square meals every day to hit the goals you wanted to. Mm-hmm. I just did a test recently, I'll share it with you, just to impress upon you that I'm in my 12% body fat range, which is a goal for me to get down to around 10 by the time I hit 50, which is a few short months away. I just tell you that not to boast, but just to show you how much I believe in this. And if you follow myself and Ashley around on a daily basis, you would be probably surprised with the stuff that we eat, because it doesn't look like diet food, and that's the whole point. Zashnax, we took all the things you wanted to eat at a healthy twist. That's our little tagline we say often. Mm-hmm. A passion with what you're eating is what's on the label, and that's all about the food scale. So with every new ingredient, with every existing ingredient, at one time or another, all the raw ingredients have gotten weighed, measured, checked, and then replicated. So we know that if, for example, we are doing 1 scoop of our protein puffs or chips or crackers, it is exactly this many grams, which equals this much protein, this many carbs. Let's say you go to something which is like a whole food, let's say like a cashews or something like that. We find out how much it is per pound, we do the math, backwards math, we're using 1/8 of a pound to put inside one of your snack bags, and you have this much protein, fat, carbohydrates, calories divided by whatever percentage that is. And replication is so important with our business, not just because we are a food business and we mass produce products, but because we want, whether you're a hard charging athlete or you are a mother just wants to feel and look better, when you eat that food and it says 200 calories, it's really 200 calories.
You're going to feel good. Yeah, we feel good giving you the accurate macros and making sure that we weigh and measure everything so that we can give you a transparent label and help you feel your best.
Exactly. And I think Ashley and I will say to the day, for as long as we own this company, go forward, is we're not pro bodybuilders, we're not pro athletes, we are average everyday people who just love to eat but really just want to feel good in our own skin. We don't
like
have
most of the people. Mm-hmm. People are everyday average people. They want to eat, but they want to eat the things that they like. So that's why we created Zashnax, to create a sustainable lifestyle. It's not a diet food. It's not meant for anybody specifically. It's meant for everybody who just enjoys eating really delicious snacks.
Exactly. So that kind of concludes the start to finish here a little bit about the macro tracking, the importance of it, and then how Zashnax can be part of that for you. And we're not saying you have to eat Zashnax 3 times a day. You could if you wanted to. You obviously want to get some of your live vegetables and greens and things like that too. We believe a sustainable, well-balanced diet, but it fits into your diet and it fits in many different ways. And that's what we love about our business, and that's what we feel so grateful that all of you have supported us and trusted us with this business, and then we hope to give back by teaching you some tricks that have helped us along the way.
All right, that's great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you guys so much for watching, and there you have it. You don't need a yo-yo diet, you just need a better strategy. Follow along for more macro hacks that actually fit your lifestyle. And don't forget, we supply over 15 stores in the Coachella Valley, and you can always order online at zashnacks.com.